Something very interesting happens over time. I remember when I got married, I was so thin. And then, many years later, I just started to gain more and more and more weight. And suddenly, more and more problems I started to have with my health. So let me take you back to 2018. All right? I went to visit my doctor for my yearly physical. And he said, Mr. Monnier, you already have some problems with high blood pressure, and according to our charts, you've been taking blood pressure medication for some time. But now, as we are taking more tests, you're having some other issues, problems with your liver. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got more problems. I mean, this is what happens as you get older, more problems. So I said, are you gonna, give me another prescription, something else to fix this other issue, this other problem? And he said, Mr. Monnier, let me level with you. Let me be honest with you. I believe that if you were to simply lose weight, the issue with your liver probably would take care of itself. And guess what? Probably your high blood pressure too. And you'd feel a whole lot better. So I walked out of the doctor's office saying to myself, I really should do something about my weight. And so starting on that day, I began a journey. And I came up with my own plan. There's a lot of diets out there. You go to this website and they tell you, you buy all of this and we'll help you, or you go over here, and none of that. I said, this is between God and me, because He's going to have to help me through this journey. I want to feel better, and I want these problems that could really unravel and cause bigger problems along the way to be cared for. So I said, Lord, please help me as I start this journey. So I came up with a very simple 4-part plan, 4 E's. So the first E was eat less. Something as simple as that. Just eat plain and simply less. Instead of having this big of a meal, have that big of a meal. And instead of eating often during the day, limit. So that was the first thing that I applied. And I can assure you, it was not easy, because I love eating. The second E, eat better. So not only eat less, but then choose better food. And as I looked at the grocery store and the stuff there, it was pretty clear that the best stuff to eat is probably more vegetables. Remember, your mom used to tell you, eat your vegetables. At least my mom did. So more vegetables, more healthy stuff. And it was hard because, man, I love chocolate and I love cheese. I love all these things. And all these things are not always particularly good for someone who's trying to maintain or lose weight. So those things had to go to the side. And so I started eating less and eating better. And I can assure you that it was not an easy change. God, please help me through this. So that's 2 E's. The third E, exercise. Exercise. I started to include exercise in my daily routine. And, in my work, I was pretty sedentary. A lot of things just sitting behind the desk, phone calls, writing, etc. Now I'm starting to walk more and more. At first it was hard because my body was not used to walking as much. But one step at a time, literally, one step at a time. And week by week I would increase the number of steps. And before long, guess what happened? I started to running. Keep in mind, slowly. very slowly, but I was still moving a bit faster than just a walking pace. So those are the first 3 E's that I implemented. And then the fourth one, realistic expectations. Expectations, that's the fourth E. Why am I saying this? Because, when you determine that you want to lose weight, I'm sure you've been there. You want things to happen quickly. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I hope that in a week I will lose a ton of weight, in a month I will lose a ton more, and in 3 months I'll be to my normal, my desired weight. Well, that's not realistic at all. It takes a while. It takes a long time. And so I stuck with it. I had realistic expectations. Just 1 month at a time, you're going to lose that much weight, and you're going to thank God for that much weight lost. So that was my journey. So let me tell you where I was and what happened. I started this journey where I had peaked at 260 pounds. And over the next year, the weight slowly, and I mean slowly, started to come off. And by the time it was time for my next doctor's visit, a year later, I had lost about 70 to 80 pounds. So I looked a lot thinner. I felt great, actually. And I couldn't wait to see the doctor so that I could tell him what was happening. So I went to the doctor at the time scheduled for my appointment. And I mean, I was like a little kid just waiting to see the doctor to tell him, guess what I did? And by the way, let me mention one more thing. Before going to see the doctor, I had already stopped taking my blood pressure medication because with my weight loss and the blood pressure medication, I could tell that the two together were not good. So I stopped taking the blood pressure medication and checked my blood pressure, and it was perfect without any medication. So I go into the doctor's office. He comes in and he does what the doctor does, checks everything, looks at his charts, looks at all the lab results, and then he realizes, hey, I'm looking at your chart, and last time you were here, you had 260 pounds, almost 260, and now you are 185. And he's like, wow, you've lost a lot of weight since last time. And he started to smile, and he says, well, guess what? Obviously you don't need any blood pressure medication anymore. And he says, we did those tests on your liver. Remember last time there were some things that were concerning? No issue whatsoever. And he continued to smile, and most doctors, they come in, they do their thing, and they move on. But he just sat back and he said, man, you made my day. Because most patients, when I tell them they need to lose weight, it just goes in one ear and out the other, and nothing ever happens. But I'm so happy you did something about it. And it just proves to me, to you, and to the doctor, the power of God. You submit into His hands. He can even take something as simple as your weight. Well, maybe it's not so simple, but you can even entrust Him with something like that and say, God, I surrender my decisions when it comes to my daily routine and the things that impact my weight. And just like this, I submitted, and it was a journey. But I do believe in what I read in the Bible, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So credit goes to God. Credit always goes to God. So friend, whatever you are going through, take it to the Lord and just trust that He will see you through this. Maybe it's not a matter of weight loss. Maybe it is. But if it isn't, it could be something else. But just trust God. He will guide, He will lead you, He will give you the inspiration on how to begin to journey forward so that you can start feeling much better, because that's God's desire. He wants you to feel great. So stay strong in Jesus, trust Him, and I hope this has been an inspiration to you.